Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Dangler?
Here.
Mr. Vieira?
Here.
Dr. Vogt?
Here.
Dr. Selly?
Here.
Mrs. Wittes?
Here.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspaper in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and posted as required by law.
Thank you. At this time, we have a presentation from Monada Surf Club. Mr. Pat McNamara.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Patrick McNamara here on behalf of the owners of the property where we're looking to do the brand new Beach Club Hotel. I have Dave Minnow here with me, who's going to walk you through this PowerPoint presentation to show you the great design that's been put together for this new hotel building.
Mr. McNamara, can we just adjust the screen a little so the council can see?
I think the council was here when I was sitting in the first.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I asked the same question.
Very often. That's all right.
We saved you the front row just for that reason.
Good evening. I'm David Minnow with Minnow and Wasco Architects and Planners, and we are very proud to present sort of the first viewing of the Onata Surf Club. This project is conceived of as a different type of hotel project than what is currently being constructed next door in Pier Village Phase 3, the Wave Resorts Hotel, which I'm sure you've seen under construction. It's going to have quite a different look and a different vibe, but one of the things that we're creating here now under the current ownership of this site and the other two hotels is we're creating a network of resort hotels within Long Branch, and they're going to be supportive of each other in different ways. And what that really means is people who are staying in the three different hotels can utilize amenities in the other hotels. So we're going to try to make them a little bit diverse so that people can move around a little bit within the community. So I just want to locate people where we are. As you can see on the right-hand part of the screen are the main portions of Pier Village, phases 1, 2, and 3, which is currently under construction, as you all know. The Wave Resorts Hotel is the building labeled number 10, right here on the ocean front. And the site that we're talking about for Onata Surf Club is just to the south of Pier Village on the ocean. And it's comprised of 3 existing lots, which will be combined into one lot. And this is the site of the existing, I think, oceanfront motel and 2 other residential lots. And we are adjacent to the high-rise building next door. So this next slide puts in our site plan in that location just to show you the relationship of our new proposed building to the rest of the buildings. And one of the reasons I'm showing this is that we have been very careful in how we planned the design of this hotel. We have basically, and you'll see on the upper floors, a little bit of an L shape to the project with our main entry court occurring off of Morris. And that also coincides with the circle on Morris that'll provide access to the Wave Resort. So there's a little nexus here of drop-off for hotel guests and people who would be coming to the hotel. One of the reasons why we made it an L shape was, number one, to take advantage over the lower landscape deck areas to the ocean, but also to allow our good neighbors to maintain their view sheds to the ocean from the high-rise units next door. So this is a rendering of the hotel taken from the beach side of the property. And what this shows is a really cool vibe. We're calling it the Onata Surf Club. We think that people will catch on to that. And the amenity spaces that we're creating on the deck include an outdoor pool in this case, and behind the glass on the left is an indoor pool area. And this is one of the amenities that will be, the indoor pool will be a shared amenity amongst the various hotels. Our hotel dining area bleeds out onto the deck for cafe dining and good weather. And our amenity space on the right-hand side also lets out onto that deck. What this rendering shows, and the floor plans will show, is that we've stepped the building on both ends of the building. On the right-hand side, we step the building toward the beach. And there's a purpose to that. I think it's good design at the beachfront to create that, but we also create terraces, and we lessen the potential shadow of this building on the beachfront itself. So we have some exhibits that show that the building will not cast shadows on the sandy beach part, which is a CAFR requirement. The look of the hotel is contemporary, but not in the same way as the Wave Resort. The Wave Resort, as you know, has the curved roof and a lot of glass. Here we have less glass, and we've got a little bit of a wood look to it. It's hard to see in this rendering because I know from that distance it just looks white or a light color. But we're using a wood grain exterior surface to give it a little more casual beach club surf look. I'll show you some other views from different angles here. This is the view as you would come toward the beach on Morris Avenue. And on the center of the drawing here would be our main hotel lobby and drop off. And here you can see the access to our below grade parking. And one of the great things about this project is we have the parking supplied for the project, but you can't see it. So it's nice that it's a very subtle garage entry for the cars to go in and out. And then as you move toward the beach, we've continued the wood look on the north side of the building, and also you can see it in the central area over the entrance lobby. We wanted to show you another view looking at the building from a little bit different angle. Here we have the existing high-rise to the south of us, but here, there on the right-hand side of the Onata Beach Club, you can see the Wave Hotel as it's rendered and will be completed this year. So very briefly, I'm going to take just a second to explain the building to everyone. I'm going to try to do it quickly because I know floor plans can be a bit boring, but this is our lowest level, and this is the entry level to the main hotel lobby right in the center off of Morris. And this is the area where we have our parking deck located, entering right off of the entry circle. And we have a whole level of parking here, which is landscaped and covered from the oceanfront side, really from all four sides of the building. So as you drive or walk around the building, you would not see the parking below. We have some beach services as people move toward the ocean. We have towels and beach chairs there available to the hotel guests, and then some of the utilities, and then our elevator core leading up to the hotel units. We have an optional plan showing how we can increase the parking here through valet. So at times of the year when the parking would be at a higher demand, we can increase the parking count. And this just shows how cars could be parked by a valet within that garage to increase the parking count. We actually have a valet space for the valet parkers there with a space for them to stay and have a bathroom and those kinds of things. Okay, I want to take you to the sort of the main hotel level. As you've come up from the entry level, this is the first floor where most of the public space is for the building. So our main dining and restaurant for hotel guests is located right in the center. Our elevators bring you up to an upper lobby. On the left-hand side of the first floor, we have the indoor pool located there, and that has doors to the outdoor pool toward the ocean. And then we have additional amenity space for the hotel located here, coming out again with large glass openings to the pool deck. And Malillo and Bauer landscape architects have designed a beautiful landscape deck with lots of opportunities for sitting and casual sunbathing in that location. As you go up, I just want to show you some typical floor plans of the hotel units. We have 100 hotel units planned here. And this would be the 3rd through the 5th floor plan on the left. And it shows 22 hotel units per floor. And here you can see this is the full extent of the building. And on the upper floors, when we get there, you'll see that the units step back on the southern side as well as the eastern side of the building. So we have a single loaded corridor which gives access to the units, and all the units have this southeast view of the ocean. As we come up to the 7th floor, you begin to see the stepping back. On this side, we've stepped back an entire module away from our neighbors, and this does show the existing building. So you'll see that the high-rise, hope I can go back in size. Okay, there you go. This shows the existing hotels, or the existing condo building, and that their view shed will be maintained to the ocean through the design of this project. And you see the stepping back here on the eastern side of the project, where we stepped back a couple of units. And then this plan shows a cross-section on the right-hand side, showing a section cut through that eastern wing facing the ocean. So on the lowest level, we have our covered garage. Here is the main hotel level with the amenity spaces and pool, and then the hotel rooms going up, and then stepping back on the 6th and 7th floors of the building. This is just a typical hotel unit. Where am I? I guess I went backwards to the 7th floor plan. Just one last view here. We wanted to make sure, as we modeled this building in the 3 dimensions, that we were careful to do a sun study to show what would happen with the sun being shown from the west coming over the building. And we're showing that our shadow from the building does not extend onto the sandy beach portion, and very little of Ocean Avenue late in the afternoon. This is a 4 p.m. view. So I think I might have another, this is another sun study at a different time of year. It's a little less intrusive. But we want to leave you with the idea of a fantastic, cool surf club here that we think has a different vibe than the other 2 hotels in Pier Village, and one that we think is going to be a great asset to the city. So I'm happy to take any questions or, yes, ma'am.
Will you talk about the parking, please, and explain it?
Yeah, I'll give you the numbers. I'm going to ask my friend Eric to help me with that. Let me just get the exact numbers here.
David, could you go back to the slide that showed the layout? I think
Sure.
that would be helpful.
Try to do that. So in the standard condition, without the valet being introduced, we have 90 parking spaces located here. And then when we move to the valet, we increase that number to 150 spaces on site. So maybe Eric can explain how that's supported. This is Eric Ballou.
So when this got adopted to allow hotel use in this area, it also adopted other standards, such as the Pier Village redevelopment standards, to be followed for this project. So in the Pier Village standards, that's being done with the Wave Hotel, so it's 1 space per hotel room. So we have 102 hotel rooms, 102 spaces. And then there is some hotel amenity type space as well, so that's parked at 4 per 1,000 square feet. So when you look at the hotel uses for rooms plus the amenity space, you get a demand of approximately 123 spaces. Right now, we're showing that we have the ability to place 150 spaces within the property. So right now, with the Pier Village standards being applied, we actually have extra parking than what the ordinance is requiring for this area, which is dramatically different than when we first presented this project.
Where are we in the process with all of this?
Well, maybe Pat can explain that.
The process has been that the mayor and council adopt a resolution designating our client as the redeveloper for the property, even though they own all of the property in question, so there's no issues about relocation or eminent domain or acquisition or anything else. That's done. The first iteration of the plan, as Eric referred to earlier, we only had the one corner property where the old hotel is. Now we own the property immediately to the south and immediately to the west, so that allowed for the complete redesign of the project. Once that designation is made by you, we would then ramp up with a full site plan application package that would be submitted to the planning board. In advance of that, it's been the planning board's practice to have us in for their informal, like they do at every monthly meeting, to walk them through the overview, similar to what you're seeing here, make sure we're all on the same page with regard to any design waiver relief. Right now, I think we have a handful of setback variances, but in all material respects, the uses are all permitted, the height is okay, the parking is okay. So on the major items, we're in compliance with the guidelines that we have to follow. We also have to enter into a redevelopment agreement. I've already provided a draft to Mr. McManaman yesterday. I used the template that the city had been working with us back in the spring on the first iteration of this development. So his office already has that. He has the RFP submission from us, and we're prepared to move as fast as possible to pull together a full application package and be ready to go to the planning board.
Mr. McNamara, you will not be asking for an abatement, is that correct?
That's correct. There is no tax abatement, TIF, RAB, or other public financing being sought with this project.
I didn't see anywhere that where the trucks unload.
Loading dock area? Dave, Eric, if you could, well, we'll get it up on the screen. I believe it's back here, but I'd rather have them tell you.
Yeah, we have a drop-off area on the west side of the building here that would be for truck access, and we have a service entrance here that goods and materials can be brought into the building.
Yeah, we just don't want the trucks in, front of the entrance there and stuff.
Right, understood.
We can tell the delivery companies what hours they're allowed to come in. That will minimize any interaction. When you've got hotel guests leaving at 10 and 11 a.m., you don't need trucks rolling in, so you'd rather have them come in at 6:30 or 7 or 7:30 in the morning, do their delivery and pickup so they're not interfering or interacting with hotel guests, either checking in or checking out.
I have two questions. I noticed there were pedestrians walking across Ocean Avenue. Is that going to remain open to car traffic, or?
Oh, sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then how the beach access? How is this hotel affecting?
No, it doesn't impact on beach access whatsoever.
For the public?
Right.
No, the beach access is on the other side of the boardwalk in Ocean Avenue. We have absolutely no say or jurisdiction over that whatsoever. That's exclusively the city's domain.
What are the size of the rooms?
Let me go back to the. Try to go forward a little bit. So the typical unit is 19.4 by 30 feet. It's a little bit, just under 600 square feet.
For a prototype hotel of this nature, would you say that's about average size that allows for 2 beds, full bath?
Yeah, it's actually a little bit on the larger side, so.
And you said the restaurant was for hotel guests only?
Yes.
That's correct.
Is that with all 3 hotels that are being built? Well, the bungalow I know is already built.
Yeah, all 3 hotels can use them, and there are other amenities in those hotels, so there's going to be sort of a network. When somebody checks into one, they'll be made aware of the amenity spaces that are in the other hotels. And we think, for instance, in the winter months, if somebody is staying in the bungalow, and they want to go for a swim, they can come here to the indoor pool. So that's a nice feature, and it really helps support the hotel business in the shoulder months to have these shared amenities.
But Long Branch residents, they would not be able to use your restaurant if they choose to, want to go out for dinner?
I don't know
It's
that,
not envisioned at this point. It was more designed, the amenity space here is offered primarily to the hotel guests.
I think the hotel guests and other people within Pier Village and even the rest of Long Branch are looking at the vast array of restaurants that are available in Pier Village and the rest of the town to support
Plus, you'll
those.
also have other restaurants coming in as Phase 3 of Pier Village gets built with the extension of Ocean Avenue. There'll be other eateries in that corridor as well, in addition to the ones that are currently at Pier Village. Any other questions, Mayor?
I'm sorry if I missed it. The restaurant and the spa will or will not be open to the public?
No, they would be there for the guests, for the hotel guests.
And not for the public?
No, that's not what's envisioned, no.
Yeah, no, so in other words, it wouldn't in any way impact the parking requirements or?
No. No, the parking requirement is based on the square footage as per the design guidelines.
Of the three hotels that we're talking about, this is hotel number 2 or
Number 3,
Bungalow.
the Wave Resort, which is under construction, and now the Onata Surf Club. Thank you.
Thank you. Rose, this is the only presentation, right? So we can push this back?
Yes. Thank you.
We're gonna have the resolution.
I'd like to next invite Lieutenant Shirley to please come forward for your presentation. Hello.
On? Can you hear me? Great. How are you tonight? So I'm here because I was asked to come speak with you about our online auction that we do. It's referred to as Gov Deals. I'm just going to go over a few things with you, and then if you have questions, you can ask me whatever it is about them. Years ago, I'd say from 2015 and before that, we used to have a auction on a piece of our property. We would take various items that would be eligible for public auction. The finance staff would send some people, the police department would send some people. We would have people come and visit the auction, and then we would sell them for what we thought was just minimal prices. I did a little research back in 2016 and ended up finding out that we really had two options, and just so you go back so you can understand, there's two things that allow us to do this. One is the New Jersey public contract laws, and the other one is the Attorney General guidelines for property and evidence function that allow us to dispose of certain types of property that we deem not usable anymore for the government. The state of New Jersey authorized a few sites. GovDeals was one of those sites. When we first did it, I think there was 5. I'm not sure how many there are now, but we selected GovDeals because they were around the area. A gentleman came in and gave us a presentation. We looked at 1 or 2 others, and we just thought this was the best fit for us. So basically what happens, departments, whenever the administrator deems it's time to get rid of assets or wants to know what's going on in or around town, he'll call for, us to perform like a survey. We'll go out to the department, see what they're looking to get rid of. We'll generate a list. It'll go to the administrator's office, and then it goes to the clerk for your consideration to go on an agenda. One of the things is a resolution has to be passed so that you guys see the items. You don't see any prices, you just see what items we're getting rid of. You can ask questions on it then. After the resolution is passed, it's got to be published in the paper, and we can't have the auction for 14 days until after that has been published in the paper and people know. One of the things I can tell you from doing both ends of it, it was really about our audience. We used to sell cars, and we would get $50 for it because 3 people would show up. They all knew each other. They'd say, "I'm going to take that one, you take that one," and it would split up. I did a report just based on our last 2 auctions. Believe it or not, on one of our items, 5,800 people viewed and bid on our items, whereas we wouldn't have 20 people, Mike, total at the auctions? Tops. I mean, so we went from getting rid of cars from anywhere from $50 to $150 to one of the highest vehicles we got rid of was almost $4,000, and it would have been the same. And I looked at the years, the difference in years of how old they were, the mileage, that's how much money we increased. So in 2 years of sales of using the online auction, we actually brought $137,000 back to the city, which when I related it back to what we would do, it was more than $100,000 extra that we would have gotten if we kept it local. So that's basically what we're doing now. A big reason that it started was years ago we had figured out that what was happening in the city, especially with vehicles, beach vehicles, fire apparatus, some DPW dump trucks, as we would come to you guys to purchase them, the other ones were getting so beat up that they weren't worth anything at the end. So what we did is try to get into a rotation that as we buy vehicles, we actually have a serviceable life for them. We can put them to auction, get a decent number for them, and then rotate that back into the budget to help the budget and help the purchase of the new vehicles. So that was one of the things we did.
So it goes into the general fund?
Yes. There are a few items that don't, but 99% of them do. There are certain things, depending on what an example would be the LISO program, where it's done through the federal government and it was military surplus. That wouldn't just go back into general. That has to be used for a police function. But other than that, very few. Is there another one that I'm missing? UEZ, yeah. There are certain things, but 99% goes right back in the general fund.
And I can tell you this, if I may, to Lieutenant Shirley's point. At one point, we got rid of the old iPads of the council and the mayor and whoever. And I was excited because I thought I was going to get like a $20 iPad for my son, And all of them went for well over $100.
The electronics is actually a great point. So when this happens, and if the governing body wants to update, the first thing we do is we go out and see what the market value should be of them, and then we sell them, and then we can offset the cost based on what it costs for us to purchase through government programs. We always get more than what the new ones are worth.
Thank you.
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
yeah,
when is
please.
this going to be scheduled?
Mayor? It's on for the next agenda, I believe, if you guys are okay with it.
I believe so.
Right. So, and like I said, it's just the 14 days is
Right.
just the minimum. So what'll happen is I'll look at when she can get it published after you pass the resolution, because that's the first step.
Okay.
It'll be 14 days after that. But generally what I like to do is I like to leave it open for about 21 days. So it'll be publicized. We put it on all of our social media websites. It'll be in the papers. And then anyone can go online and actually bid on them.
Okay.
I should mention one thing, just so you guys know. We did one restriction that city employees are not allowed to bid on any items.
Okay.
And that was just something that we did back when we did this.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing I ended up not bidding then, huh?
Well, yeah. Oh, I did not know that. It's on for tonight. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I did not know that.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Mr. Ziva, you come forward.
evening.
It's working.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I gave everyone a copy. I hope you all have it to go through. This is the 2018 report for the Ocean Rescue. Every year I come up here and just let you know what's going on, how many rescues we made, what we did, answer any questions you have. This year we manned 21 lifeguard stands throughout the beaches. 8 lifeguard stands were open after 5 o'clock at night till 7 p.m. and sometimes later. Daily staffing was 63 lifeguards, 3 pool lifeguards, 3 EMTs, a zone supervisor, and a manager daily. Total staffing for the year, we had 85 full-time lifeguards and 45 part-time lifeguards. There were 871 water rescues. 103 of them occurred during the late shift from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. There were 2 major jet ski rescues, and 13 of those rescues were after Labor Day, between Labor Day, September 4th, and October the 1st. There were 7,832 preventions, which basically is just lifeguards getting off the stands, telling people to get away from the rocks, don't swim in this area, messing around, climbing around, throwing people up in the air and stuff like that. There was 1,037 minor medical, jellyfish stings, bee bites, anything like that, small scrapes and bruises. 100 major medicals, which people actually had to be transported to the hospital. There was 1,876 what we call code enforcement. That is basically if people are smoking on the beach or digging holes or anything like that to prevent that. And 110 lost and found missing children or parents actually looking for other adults or something like that. On the second page, I know we're short for time. If you get a chance, you can read it. It was a consolidation of lifeguards. We basically took over some of the private beaches and handled that for the season. We are starting a rapid response dive team. It's just strictly in-house. It's not with any other agency in case we have, God forbid, a submersion or something like that. Training, we had a mass casualty incident just with the lifeguards and the beach staff. We sent our over 30 lifeguards to a boater safety class and jet ski operation class. This year coming up, we're going to have a Codex drill with the police and the fire department once we talk to them and get everything set. So it'll be a major drill, which you guys will be invited to. We got a company to come in and do off-road vehicle ops class where we sent supervisors to a trainer class so they can come back, and whoever is entitled to drive a vehicle on the beach will have to go through this class next year before they can drive a vehicle. Junior lifeguard program, successful as ever. It went from 50 in 2013 to 135 this year. And the rookie class, we have 40 hours rookie class before you become a lifeguard in Long Branch, even though you are USLA certified or you are certified. We make you go to a rookie class and train you onto things that we do in Long Branch.
Is there a fee for that?
I'm sorry?
Is there a fee for that?
There is no fee for that, no.
So anyone can,
And if we hire you and you're a rookie and you're starting your first year, it's mandatory that you have to go to this. Okay, and the last thing, competitions, lifeguards took first place in the Avon and second place in the Seagirl. It's got invitation, but I'm pretty sure that's for on the female side. I don't think it's Seagirl. I think it belongs to Seagirl. That's all I have for you. Gladly answer any questions.
Yes, and
yes.
is there any possibility that we can get these lifeguards involved with the Long Branch High School, that we can get more kids involved, local kids?
I heard your comments last week,
Yeah,
last
and,
meeting, and I spoke with Danny George on
Good job.
that. And anyone from the high school that has applied and that has passed the qualifications and the swim test and all that has been hired.
Well, the thing is not passed, the thing is to get these kids involved so they can get qualified. You know what I mean? Because let the kids know that there's something available for them.
Absolutely.
Maybe
Not a problem with that.
what I mean?
It's all mandated through insurance and everything. They can get,
Yeah.
they can come in, they can see what we can do. I can set up a meeting if they want, with Dan and
Yeah.
some of the lifeguards to go over that, because lifeguards do start in schools earlier.
Yeah.
They go to the grade schools and do presentations, stuff like that. We can do something in the high school in case these kids are interested.
At least
and
advertise it,
maybe
because
get them
don't
on
let the
board.
kids- Yeah, at least
Yeah, we
advertise.
can work out something over the winter months to do that if you want. I can
Okay.
talk to Dr. Salvatore, tell him what we want to do and take it from there.
Because
Sure.
I like to see a lot of local kids.
Sure.
A lot of times they're looking for summer jobs. If we get them involved early, then they'll be ready in the summer.
Okay.
is there a way we can also encourage senior citizens to maybe help out at the ticket booths and things like that during the summer?
We could look into that, yes. Absolutely. It was never thought, it was always, you know, to give the local kids a job and stuff like that. But seniors, I would welcome that, you know, on an overall scale. We could use some of them, yes.
Yeah, I thought it'd just be nice to have a relationship, you know, students with seniors, and it's a good way to, you know, learn from one another.
Yeah, no, definitely, we could do something like that. We can talk later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right.
So Stan, just looking at the numbers on the first page of the
Yes.
number of rescues and everything that happened, first of all, is there anything, how does this compare to last year, is question number one. Let's do with that.
It's roughly the same. I think it's actually a little bit down because we were a little less crowded on the beaches this year. But in comparison, it's right around the same area every year that we have this.
Okay.
Somewhere between the 800 and 900 for rescues, and depending on water conditions, on weather. You know, we lost a lot of weekends this year as far as due to the weather and stuff like that. So that's all into consideration.
Okay, and is there anything that these numbers tell us in terms of improvements? Just anything that we could do now in the planning phase that would help, you know, the lifeguard, help the whole
Well,
team next year?
Let me put it this way. You guys have done a lot, the old mayor and council, and including this year with you guys, to step up the equipment and step up the quality of what we have down there to do these rescues and to get to where we wanted to be. And I'm going back probably 8, 9 years ago, we didn't have the quality of lifeguards that we have now. We were training lifeguards, and because of the salary that Long Branch had, they were leaving to go to other towns. We had asked the mayor and council to bring those salaries up, and they did do that. Just recently, we asked you guys for some new equipment. We got that. This year, we're going to ask for very little as far as new equipment. We should be able to do most of this on our operating budget because we're at the level now to where we want to be. Coming up in the future, there's going to be a few things that we have to talk about, but I think right now we're in very good shape considering where we were about 5 years ago.
Okay, and I would assume that the future isn't too far down the road, just thinking of budgeting and all that other
Right.
stuff that's
I
going to
think
be
we're going to
happening.
be. I think we're going to be fine this year. I've already sat down with my supervisors and looked at what we had to do. I've spoken to the mayor about a couple things, and I think we should be able to handle budget line without coming to you with a major capital or any project like that. Probably next year or the year after, we might have to look at replacing a few things. But right now, we're in very good shape as far as our equipment.
Yeah, you know, I'm just thinking about, like, even going back to the town meeting when we said to folks, you know, what's one thing that we could do to make the beach experience all the more wonderful next year? And, you know, we need to start identifying those things now and planning for them.
Right.
But wait a minute, let me just get to the end.
Go
And so just, you know, one thing was the whole accessibility that continues to be a conversation that we're having, which spectacular if we could say, you know, Long Branch is the most accessible beach on the Jersey Shore. I'm thinking of, you know, Long Branch is the safest beach on the, you know, that's where I'm going with my questioning, which is very broad, but it's just that always, what's the next step to improve? That's where I'm going.
Remember, we were talking about getting more? Oh, you're good.
Yeah, and not for a specific answer now, because I know time is tight, but just as we keep thinking, the constant improvement.
Right, we are looking into, like we spoke about, the Moby mats, replacing some of the ones we have. The issue that I have with getting a lot of them is it's hard for me to rake the beach, because as the Moby mats go out, then we've got an issue going around them, and the beach wouldn't be cleaned properly.
Yeah.
They have to be rolled up, which means more manpower. So there's got to be somewhere in the middle. We got to find
Right, it's a broader discussion.
happy medium. Yes,
Right.
exactly.
I agree.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice
Stan.
report, Stan.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very nice.
Nice work.
No, I had
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So Sid Johnson from the Health Department. This is Chief Ross LaCitra, the Director over at the SPCA. So just a little recap real quick is January of this year, the Council authorized a resolution with the SPCA, an agreement for 100, to get TNR, trap, neuter, and return 100 cats. The cost is $3,750. We split that, that's our half of the cost. The SPCA picks up a similar amount of money because it's $75 per cat, but we split it down the middle. So we started it in March and we ran through 100 cats, and I came back in May, end of May, early June, and asked if the new council, you would be willing to continue the program, and you were willing to extend the agreement for another 100 cats, which we have reached a total of 200, which was much quicker than the first. So we have 108 cats that were TNR'd and returned to the community. 77 kittens were which are adoptable, were given to the SPCA. 9 adult cats were surrendered, and 6 cats that were turned in had to be euthanized because they were injured. So we have a monthly meeting with an animal welfare group. I meet Debbie Nagel and some of the residents in Long Branch. But the program, in our viewpoint, has been a success. The cats that are put back in the community are vaccinated for rabies and what else? Diphtheria?
Distemper and
distemper.
the other normal vaccinations
The
that they would
return
receive.
to colony caregivers who sign up and adhere to regulations and standards by the SPCA as far as feeding and so forth. And all in all, I think we've prevented, these 77 kittens would have grown, possibly could have grown into adults, and then average of 3 litters a year. I'll let you speak to the number of births that we probably prevented.
Right. Well, first off, as the county director and chief of the county SPCA, I sincerely like to thank the mayor and council for your endeavors moving forward. You know, the Monmouth County SPCA currently has 11 active contracts with municipalities for the TNR program. Although we TNR throughout the entire county, we have 11 municipalities that we have agreements with to do it. Long Branch and Highlands by far has been the success model for the entire county in what we've done. And as Mr. Johnson said, out of the 200 cats, 108 were returned back to your community, while the other 92 were either adopted, and unfortunately 6 had to be euthanized for their health. But you know, the key factor here is that every community across the United States and even in the world are plagued with community cats. They're just something that has been overlooked for many, many years. And you know, the overabundance of their population, it will continue to grow if we don't do anything about it. You know, out of the 108 cats that were returned back to the community, a little over 70 of them were female cats. And you know, I always love a visual when we use this. This is what one cat is capable of producing just a little over 2 years as it comes in. They go into gestation or into their, having kittens like every 7 to 8 months. So this is what one cat would happen if we didn't do this. Now, this doesn't even include the 77 kittens that were taken off the street and adopted out to homes. So it clearly shows that what we're doing here are really making strides in reducing the community cat problem, and most importantly, as public officials and as Mr. Johnson stated, the reduction of rabies and interaction with other wildlife that our public would be coming in contact with, because of, cats are something, they're domesticated animals, and children and people are always prone to play with cats as they would wildlife. But let's not, let's be clear here that these community cats are basically wild animals who do interact with wildlife all the time. So just getting them vaccinated and getting them under control, it is absolutely by far working. It truly, truly is.
So I guess that's where asking, or the Animal Welfare Group has asked for additional funding to carry us through the end of the year. We have checked with Mr. Martin. There's the Animal Trust Fund, and the additional $3,750 is available if you so desire it. The suggestion was that next year I build it into the budget, and I think that's a good idea rather than keep coming back. If you want to continue the program and ask for 100 here, another 100, you build it like it's not a startup anymore. It's a continuation. If you want to continue the program, that's fine. I think the right thing to do would put it as a budgetary item and do it that way. And we'll see. But it's your desire. But the program, as far as we can say, I can tell you it's a success and it's working. And You know, it's been doing what we intended it to do. It may not level off the population of cats for a few more years, but that's the nature of the beast, really, so.
Yeah, one more thing I'd like to add to is on the financial aspect of it. Out of the 92 cats that were not returned back to the street, most of them, of course, being adopted out, only 6 lost their lives for medical reasons. If you were to surrender those to the county SPCA, the standard surrender fee to take them on the street is a $250 charge, and that's the county fee across the county. That's $23,000, just for those 92 cats alone that wouldn't been back. The 200 cats, all total, cost the city only $3,750, with the county picking up the other $3,750. That cost is because that's exactly what it cost us to do the medical, the spay and neuter, the vaccinations and everything else. It's very, very carefully calculated at that number.
That's true. If our budget, if our contract agreement for animal control, we pick up a stray cat or a stray dog, we pay $250. So this gave, and for that reason, in the past, the animal control was always hesitant to pick up cats, especially $250 for every cat. Where does it end? So this program afforded us a way of handling the stray cats and so forth. So, and if we have a trouble with the colony, which 1 or 2 people, we did have an issue with, we go to Ross and he intercedes and talks to the people. And if he's not successful, we can always go to court with the people. But the 2 instances I'm talking about, he had some success with them. So, we have a nice agreement, nice working relationship.
Personally, I think it's a great program, and Chief LaCitra and your staff, I just want to thank you because I know you have a great relationship with our health department and program, so thank you.
All right, so it's your pleasure, yeah, right? And one other thing, the rabies clinic last night, we had 163 animals there, so it was very good. The first time we did one in October. We always have the January one because it coincides with the licensing, but we decided to do an extra one, so it worked out fine. And a lot of people got the word out there was a rabbit raccoon, so we heard that from multiple people that showed up, so it was very nice. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
And I'd also like to thank the members of our community that are here that support this whole program. Sharon, I see you. Thank you. Next item, Mr. Renone, we're going to do vacant property, abandoned properties.
We are, Council President. This ordinance was circulated before last meeting. I also gave you a memo. We've kind of gone over the details of it a number of times, but the purpose of this is to create kind of a coherent set of tools for your enforcement people to be able to deal with the issue of abandoned and vacant properties. It requires registration of properties by foreclosing parties, so that you know who the appropriate person is to be maintaining them. Mr. Jackson has reviewed all of these. He's reviewed them with staff. We've made amendments, some of which were suggested by the council after their meetings with DCA, and I believe that they're ready for introduction.
Any questions?
No? Good.
Okay. And then the next item, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, Council President. It was brought to my attention by Director of Building and Development, Kevin Hayes, that the state recently introduced a new minimum fee for certain inspections, and these are type 1 through 4 structures. This is a mandatory minimum, so we need to have the amendment to our local ordinance. This was enacted on October 15th of this year. So this is just a housekeeping item to amend the ordinance to comply with state statute.
Any questions?
No, we're good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And then the next item is the employee recognition, which we've spoken about before. And I put together some items for you to look at. I'm going to find mine. 1 second. Okay, the employee recognition of the month. This program will be designed to acknowledge a city employee who has performed his or her duties in an extraordinary manner. Qualifications and eligibility, demonstration of the following service qualities: friendliness, thoughtfulness, and dependability. Duties performed in a professional manner. Ability to work with others, an exemplary representative of the city. And I wanted to discuss possibly having the administration submit employees' names each month and reviewed by the administration, and at that time, make their selection. The awards could be resolution presented by the mayor and city council at a regular council meeting. An 8x10 photo will be displayed in the common area of City Hall. A photo of the employee will also be highlighted on our website and link news. We may want to also recognize on a yearly basis years of service awards for employees who reach their 25, 35, 50-year anniversary, as well as employees who retire. And we can present a resolution and highlight them on our webpage as well. So this is all up for discussion with everyone, and I'd like to get your ideas and move forward with it if we can possibly do that.
Okay.
Is there any questions?
No questions, just when do you plan to start?
I'd like to start as soon as we can, like probably, well, at this point, probably December. if we
December?
can. Mhm.
I particularly like the idea of what you have on the bottom there, recognize years of service for people and the employees retiring. I think that's great.
Oh, thank you.
That part of it.
Any other questions?
I would throw in one other thing as a possible award, a beach pass. Or maybe a beach pass for their family, something like that.
Okay, we can look into that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one is Volunteer Initiatives Program, like Office of Volunteerism. And the goal is to help promote volunteer opportunities for residents throughout the city of Long Branch in an effort to strengthen our city by connecting with families, neighbors, and communities through service. Potential projects, I put a few together: provide assistance to our senior citizens, provide assistance to special needs citizens, provide a portal for nonprofits seeking volunteers, engage the entire community, schools, community clubs, churches, provide food and clothing to those in need, animal services, parks and recreation, police, fire department, and library. And we could also recognize volunteers each month at our council meetings as well, if you'd like to do that. So this is also something we'd like to start as soon as we can, and wanting to know if there's anything else that you would like to, add to this.
Yeah, I have a couple of suggestions.
Okay.
Where you say provide assistance to our senior citizens, you go right to the senior center to do that.
Well, I'm talking also about if someone needs their lawn cut, if they can't do, something like that.
But that's where you're gonna find out, because we have
Yeah.
a social worker who has all that.
Okay, fine.
Okay. To provide assistance for special needs, we should go to ARC and help them.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have engaged the entire community, don't forget the little nursery schools that we have. You have schools, but I think we need to go into the learning, the little learning. And to provide the food and clothing, we have a lot of food banks, but there's always need for food and volunteers.
Right.
And the last one I thought of was, we have 2 colleges within our range. One is Brookdale, and one is Monmouth University. And they certainly, we have volunteers at the senior center from Monmouth University.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good. It's a good start.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I think it's a good start too. How is it going to be managed? How, how then promoted, that whole thing, so people know to go to this for these kinds of services?
Well, we're gonna, I have people that, have approached me, and I've approached them, who would like to be involved in this. And also, if we post everything on our webpage, where, if something's of interest to someone, like say the library, they could, just press a button on the webpage, and I've seen this done also on the web. I've gone through various different communities throughout the country on their sites. You would just press the button, say library, and it'll say where their volunteers are needed and what times, and if you're available, and
Okay.
so that kind of thing. So it's
Will they come to us, or they'll go straight to the library?
if they wanted to,
Just volunteer.
well, it would be posted on our webpage,
Okay.
and they're already signed up as a volunteer for the community. So then they could see on the webpage, well,
Okay.
I
I
go to
see.
the library, and then, they would
Yeah.
go to the library and
that's-
contact the library.
Okay.
Sign up for it online.
Sign up for it, and then what's available comes up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good.
Anyone else?
Rose, I think both are great ideas, and I want to thank you for taking the initiative to do this. One of the things I noticed with the volunteer groups is a couple of the municipalities that I looked at, and it's not necessarily in New Jersey, in addition to the recognition as a council meeting, they'll have like an annual breakfast where they honor the volunteers, and I would think that a restaurant or something would donate the time and whatever is necessary to do that. And, those events, from what I've read, seem to kind of bring the community together, bring the various groups together. It's a time for some publicity and branding, and just makes more people, a networking of the various groups. So might be something you want to consider too, that I see a few of them are doing that.
Okay.
It's like an annual recognition award.
That's nice. I think that's a great idea. Thank you. Anyone else?
Oh, we're good.
And at this time, I need a motion to go into closed executive session.
Or review of regular
We have to
agenda.
review the review the meeting?
one, or we have to review the agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Review.
I missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into executive?
I don't believe we have an executive session, do we? We do not.
Yeah, we.
Yes, we added,
Yeah, we do.
I just had two quick things on the agenda for the regular meeting. Just a comment about the, Extra Mile Day, November 1st. And it's wonderful that we endorse these things. November 1st is next week. It doesn't give us much time to do something further with it. I would love to see the administration being able to model some of these things, to do more than just say November 1st is Extra Mile Day. So I'm just saying maybe to introduce these things a little bit more and have an opportunity to talk among ourselves how the administration might be able to take a lead on some of this or do some things with it. So that's just one comment. Could anybody just do 3 sentences on the safe communities, the outcomes that we're expecting? Comment?
You mean the Safe and Secure grants?
Yeah.
That's a grant we receive every year from the state government, $60,000 a year.
Okay.
They were delinquent in getting us the paperwork for the 17 grants, so this is just the 17 and 18 paperwork. It's something we receive every year.
Oh, so okay, it's routine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions about review of the regular meeting agenda?
No, we're good. No.
Okay. So now I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call? I guess.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly? Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
I'll be back in a half hour.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna